Hey guys, welcome back to another Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter card game review. Today's game up on the tabletop is called Heirs of the Wizard King by Closet Full of Games. Heirs of the Wizard King is 2 to 4 players, about a half an hour to play, and for ages 12 and up. In the game, you're playing as apprentice wizards, and the Black Wizard has just killed the main Wizard King, and he is trying to ascend to power. Now, what you want to do as apprentice wizards is stop the Black King from ascending and taking the throne, while you yourself gaining the power to become the next Wizard King, because you all think you're worthy, but yet only one person is. In the game, you'll be creating chains of spells in order to level your character up, and if you can get to the level allotted based on the number of players before anybody else, including the Wizard King, the Black Wizard King, then you will become the winner of the game. You could also play cards or increase the spell level of your different spells, but the main objective is obviously to level your character up and become the best wizard of all of them. Anyway, let me go ahead and show you what it looks like. Okay, so here we have the setup for Heirs of the Wizard King. Now the first thing is you're going to have player boards, up to 4 of them, and you're going to set them right here along with the player level, which is at level 1 to start with, as well as setting up the Black Wizard right here at level 1 as well. You're also going to get these specific tokens for spells, which you'll set to the side at 0, and then as you play the game, they're going to progress up until you get to until you get up to 7. As well as everyone will start with 1 card in their chain, just like this. Also, for player order to begin, the first player is going to get 1 card, the second player will get 2, 3, and so on and so forth, depending on the amount of players in the game. You'll also have a player deck, the rules, and the box for the contents. Alright, so to begin the turn for the first player, you're going to follow the simple steps represented on your player card, which is nice. It tells you how to play the game as well as your ability summaries, and then what you need to win the game from the chain starting at 1 all the way to 7 if you're playing in a 2-player game. The first thing you can do is either activate, learn, or use. If you activate, you're simply going to play, use, and then discard a card. And you're going to basically do that with the card in your hand here, and it'll tell you what it does at the bottom here. Otherwise, you can learn the card, and that is, you can play the card to increase the token allotment by 1. So you're going to have spells on the side here of your card, and if you play a blue card to increase that token level, so blue would go up to 2, you would then be able to use that specific blue ability. And blue says webs, return up to, based on the number, 2, chain cards to the top of the deck in any order, a player's deck in any order. So that's really good, actually. That can stop somebody from getting their chains ready. After that, instead of that, you could use, which is simply use any of your ability tokens. So let's say you don't have a red card in your hand, but you want to use a red because it's up to 4 right now, and you could use that by doing heal, look at the top 4 cards of the discard pile, maintaining the order, select 1 card to place in your hand. After that, you do any of those 3 abilities, you would then move on to chain like color and like number, and you can chain any like colors and like numbers from your hand to the play field. If you can only do it up to the level your level plus 1, which would then increase you to the next level. And your objective obviously is to get to the highest level required to win the game 4, 3, and 2 players. After that, you're going to discard any complete chains, increase your stat token and your ability token by 1, and then you're going to draw 2 cards from the deck. So if you have a maximum hand size, depending on the number of players, it's 2 players is 5, 3 is 4, and 4 is 3. If you have over the maximum hand size, you're going to discard down to that hand size, and then you're going to draw 2 cards, unless you played a card earlier that will have a change in that effect. After that, you would then deal 1 card to the Black Wizard's chain. You would move his spell value up by that number as well, just like you would yourself, and perform that spell option based on what these spells say they do in the Wizard's Handbook. After that, the next player would go ahead and take a turn. Now, before that, though, if anybody didn't have a card in their hand or a spell laid out on a chain, everybody would get 1 for free. Okay, so now we're going to begin the turns for Heirs of the Wizard King, and as I said before, there is a first player, second, and third based on the number of cards in their hand. So this player is going to go first, and what does he have? He has a 6 of Burning, which is this red one right here. He could choose to activate, learn, or use one of his spells. Now, to use a spell, he would have to actually have a spell to use, and because these are all on 0 right now, he can't do that. So instead, he could choose to either learn this, and then he can move this up to 1, and learning is simple. You play the card just for the value it is, move it up based on the color, and then use the ability based on the number this token is at. So if it would be at 1 here, he would use Burn, discard 1 card from any chain or hand, and to do it on an opposing player, he would need at least 2. So right now it'd be at 1, so he can only do it to himself, which is not so helpful, but as opposed to that, he could actually just activate the card for its ability, and he would not get to do this. He would do Burn, discard 6 cards from any chain or hand, opposing players, and each count up for 2 cards. Just the same thing, but with 6 instead of 1, but he doesn't get to do that learning ability, which is useful. useful. So he'll go ahead and learn. He won't do the ability, so he'll just discard this card. After that, you're going to chain in like numbers or colors from your hand to this area here. He has no cards in hand, so he can't do that. Then he's going to complete any chains. And right now, when you complete chains, you need to have a certain number. And we're all starting at 1, so you'll need 2 to go up. And then on your next time, you would need 3, and so on and so forth. Once you get to one of these numbers here, based on the number of players, is when you win the game, along with the Black King. So if you're playing a 4-player game, if you get to 5, you win. If the Black King gets to 5, he wins. So that would be the end of his turn. He get to draw 2 cards from the deck, and there's a player hand limit based on the number of players. At 2, there's 5, 3, there's 4, and 4, there's 3. So you would discard down to the number based on the highest hand size you can have. After that, you're going to deal 1 card to the Black Wizards. So he's going to get this card right here. And it doesn't matter what cards or colors or numbers he gets, he just gets to place one right there. Well, every time he plays a card, he's going to level up that specific ability based on the color of the card and move it here. Then he's going to do that ability. For instance, this guy always has different abilities. They're not the same as the players. They're kind of similar, but they have some differences. For the green, it does follow the same pattern as Grow, in which he's going to Grow, reveal the top 1 cards from the deck, and add them to any chain. So first he's going to try to do it to himself, and if he can't do it to himself, he'll have to give it to somebody else. So right here it says 3, and it's a green, so he does, and he can put it just like that. But he can't because he's already got his 2, so he's going to level up. But so he doesn't need to do that. He'll have to give it to somebody else. Now, nobody else can use this because there's no greens and there's no 3s here, so it'd go straight to the discard pile. So after that, he doesn't get to score his chain because it only happens during the scoring chain section. So the next player is going to get to go. And this player has his 2 cards. He's got an L, which is red, and he's got an L, which is a red droplet, and he's got a 1, which is a fire. He could choose to activate, learn, or use once again. All the L's are very powerful. This one says Heal Death. Look throughout the entire discard pile, maintaining their order. Select up to 2 cards to place in your hand. Very powerful, except for this instance, there's only 2 cards in the discard pile, and neither of them are going to help him chain, so perhaps he will actually go ahead and learn as well. So he'll also play this red card just to learn, which will move his ability to marker up 1. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. And it would go right here. And after that, he's going to go ahead and decide if he wants to use his ability. He doesn't want to discard any cards from hand. And he can't, just like this character, use anything against other players because it costs 2. So he's going to then go on to his next phase, which is the chain like colors and numbers. This doesn't work. L and red. It doesn't work with 7 or purple. So he will then try and discard complete chains. Well, at this point now, because he still has his chain, this will go ahead and get discarded, and the Wizard King is going to go up to 2, or the Black Wizard, I should say. After that, he's going to draw 2 cards from the deck. Nobody else can see them. Hide this here just like that. And the Black Wizard is now going to get to do what he wants to do, which is take a card and put it on his chain, level up his ability, which is this one here. It now goes to the one right here. And we're going to look what it says. It says heal, look at the top 1 cards of the discard pile in any order, place them into your hand. So instead of hand, for instance, he's going to actually be able to put it next to his chain here. So this will work actually because it's a 1 and a 1. So he actually just gets a bonus chain. Really powerful. He's moving up on the world. And then after that, if the Black Wizard, when the Black Wizard finishes, if anybody doesn't have a chained card, so if this was missing here, he have to give this card here. You have to make sure everybody has 1, as well as cards in hand. If somebody had no cards in hand, the Wizard would actually end up giving him 1. So moving on to the next player's turn, he'll simply go ahead and take his 3 cards here. All right. And he's got a couple things he has here. He's got blue, yellow, and 6L and 3. What does he want to do? Well, he could web up to 3 chain cards, returning them, or he could simply do lore, which is draw 2 plus 6 cards at the end of your turn, and then you have to keep 2 and return the rest to the top of the deck in any order. That's pretty good, especially at the beginning of the game. So maybe he'll play this card. So he's actually going to go ahead and use this card. Now he doesn't get to go up on the track here because he's going to use it, which means at the end of the step, when he goes to draw his 2 cards, he's going to draw that 2 plus 6. After that, he's going to try and see if he can chain. She can't chain on anything because this is a 2 and this is a 3 and this is an L and there's no purple. So we move on to discarding complete chains. There's nobody has a complete chain. So he's going to draw his 2 cards here, plus he's going to get to draw 6 additional ones here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And he's going to get to look through these and choose ones that he wants. Well, he probably wants these purple ones right here because then he can use them to chain off of that ability. And after he does that, he gets to return them to the top of the deck in any order, and this might make a difference depending on who's getting what. And we'll just put them like this for now. After that, he's going to go ahead and deal a card to the Black Wizard's chain. So also remember too, whenever anybody levels up, they're also going to get to put one of these spell things up a level. They get to get a bonus. So if this guy's up here and he levels his 1 to 2, he actually get to move up a level, which is just important when you think about leveling up. Also, if at any point in time, so for instance, this is a 3-player game, the max hand size of 4, you can actually have more than your max hand size. You don't have to discard down, but you can't draw anymore once you get to a higher hand size than that. So sometimes it might be good to discard cards using the special like burn cards and so on and so forth. So we're on the Black Wizard portion. He goes ahead and flips another card over. It doesn't matter what card it is. He moves his red up. He goes to level 2 now, which is pretty good. And he gets to do his heal thing, which is, again, look at the top cards of the discard pile, maintaining him, putting him into his head. So he gets 2, and he gets to go ahead and see if he can chain them. And he can't chain because this is a 4 and this is a 6, and it doesn't let him chain on either side because they're both different colors. So he's going to go ahead and put these back. No goodness for the Wizard King. And we move on to the first player again, and he gets to start again. All right, so he's got his cards here. Actually, this is nice. He can chain off of these cards here. So he can actually play one. It doesn't. This one right here. What does it say? Growth. Look at the top 7 cards. Add them to your. Okay, you don't want to do that right now because it's going to help other people more than it's going to help you right now. But at a later date, this would be actually a really good card. So he's going to play this card to learn it, moving this up 1. So he'll put this here, and then he's going to flip over 1 card and see if he can match it here. He can't. It doesn't match anywhere else either. It could match here.
He also doesn't have to.
I know.
Okay, I was just saying.
He also put it over here if he wants to, but if he does that, well, he can't actually because it's a max at 3. So this card kind of just burns. Now, he wouldn't have had to have done that if he didn't want to. He could have just learned the spell and moved up, but he doesn't really want to do that. He wanted to try it out anyway, just for the heck of it, because he could possibly have saved this card, which would have been nice, but he doesn't get to. So now he gets to go ahead and chain like numbers or colors, which he does. He's got his 4 and a 7. They're both yellow, so that works. And he gets to then try and discard complete chains. Well, that lets not only him complete his chain, but also the Black Wizard. So the Black Wizard is going to go up, and so is he. Now, he leveled up, so he actually gets to put one of these anywhere he wants. He can upgrade it, level up once. So he'll just move that green one up just like that. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Then he gets to draw his 2 cards, and he has to do a 1 card to the Wizard King and level his thing up again. Wow, another green. So he does the grow mechanic again, which is 2 this time. And he reveals them. If he can chain, he does. He chains there. This one doesn't work over there, but it does work over here, so he can just put it on one of these guys. And after that, he's pretty much done. So there's also 1 card missing here. There's nothing here, so this guy gets a freebie. And it moves on to the next player. And it continues like this until somebody reaches the designated spot or the Wizard King reaches that designated spot. And this is a 3-player game, so you need to reach the 6 before the Wizard King does. And there's a lot of cards that are going to let you do things like removing things from chains, adding things to your chain like the grows and so on. We missed a couple abilities like webs, and also this purple one for the Wizard is going to make him discard cards from the deck. Whenever the deck runs out, he levels up. There's also a specific card in the deck that can be played that will turn this wizard face down over like this. Everything remains the same on him. He just can't actually gain any cards until the deck gets reshuffled, which is why he sometimes will like to make cards removed from the deck, because that'll push him along further to victory. After this deck gets reshuffled, it comes back and he continues play just like normal. And so your objective is to push along as fast as possible, but stopping your opponents from pushing along as well as keeping this wizard in check altogether so that he doesn't win and nobody else does. So that is the basic idea for how to play Heirs of the Wizard King. All right, let me tell you what I think about it. Also to mention, too, that yes, playing cards usually to learn is a good idea. However, activating can be beneficial as well. Some of these cards will actually let you do some really fantastic things. Like this 6 webs will let you return up to 6 chain cards to the top of the deck in any order. And maybe you only have a 3. Or sometimes you won't have that specific color, so it is beneficial to actually activate these cards as opposed to learning at some point. Not only that, but there's also a solo variant to the game. The Black King would actually get to have 2 different separate chains that work kind of together, and you're playing by yourself to try and beat the Black King. So if you're interested in a solitaire mode style game, then you can do that as well. And that is the idea for Heirs of the Wizard King. Alright, let me tell you what I think about it. Alright, so Heirs of the Wizard King by Closet Full of Games. It is a very interesting, unique style chaining game that also has a race mechanic where you're against the Black King. Now, originally when I played the game, the Black King didn't have all these special abilities that he does now have, which is really cool. In fact, I like that because the game was a little too easy, in my opinion, as for how much the Black King didn't really do as much. It was more of a me versus the opponents kind of thing as to race to the top. But once the Black King was added, it made a ton more difficult, more of a difficult setting, which was a lot more fun for this game. I enjoyed the fact that I've got two separate entities that I have to fight against at all times. Not only that though, but the chaining was very it was too easy for the game that it was. For how it was. Hard to say, but basically instead of just, what I would have preferred was, instead of just light colors or numbers, perhaps it would be just 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all in the same color. But once you added that extra difficulty with this guy, all of that changed, and I think the game is just fine as it is. It gave it just that right amount of difficulty level, while also having that that non-cooperative nature against your allies who are also trying to stop the Wizard King, while making sure that they get to the top before you do. And you have that interesting aspect of where you're like, I'd like to stop the Wizard King from getting this next chain, but I need this card to level up in my chain, so is it really worth it? And the question and answer sometimes are very difficult and very different for different people. Sometimes you'd rather make sure that no one wins the game as opposed to yourself losing the game, right? It's just yourself losing the game. Somebody's really close to winning. Do you really want to help the Wizard King, or do you want to help yourself out? You want to stop the Wizard King, the bad Wizard King, whatever, the black one, or do you want to help yourself out? And it's a hard decision to make sometimes, because you're torn between two crossroads as to you're no longer in the race, but you can still deter the evil bad guy from winning. You got to make that moral decision throughout the game. I also like that you have a lot of different options as for the actions at the beginning. It's not just simply playing a card and leveling up. You also, all these different cards will let you do different things, and some of them are going to be beneficial. Some of your actions are going to be pretty much, this is what you should do kind of thing. But then you're throwing in a wild card on the occasion where you're like, oh, I could web for 6. Or I could level web up from 3 to 4. Is it what's worth? You know, what's it worth? And that comes down to basically player choice. The game's difficulty level, like I said, is on par, like just where I want it to be. I like all the components, everything looks great, the quality is great, the cards are solid, all the artwork is pretty cool, mystical and whatnot. I'll probably be having some artwork up here so you can see the different artwork of the game. It fits all in this nice little box, and all the components are easy to put together, easy to put away, as well as explaining the game is very, very simple, as you just saw. I think anybody who has seen this review and kind of gets an idea of what the game's like, they will pretty much know if they like this game or not. For me specifically, I really enjoyed this game, and it's going to be one of those games that I play around a coffee table with a bunch of friends of mine, or even at a game night. I would definitely suggest that. A very, very fun game that I really do recommend, Heirs of the Wizard King. Alright guys, thanks for watching another Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter board game review. If you like this video, go ahead and check out the rest of our videos here on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and comment. It all helps. We do appreciate it. As well as checking out our website, unfilteredgamer.com, tons of blog posts, giveaways, Kickstarter lists, and more. The Kickstarter list goes on and on. It makes it easy for you guys to not have to search through Kickstarter to find the games you want. Also, go ahead and check out Heirs of the Wizard King, currently on Kickstarter, and if not, very soon. Right in the description below, you can go ahead and check out their campaign, see if you're interested in the game. It's pretty cool. I would suggest it. Also, go ahead and check out our affiliate websites, everythingboardgames.com, The Giveaway Geek, and Devatos Gaming. 3 great sites, tons of giveaways, even more news and content than my own. Alright guys, well that is it for this video, and I look forward to seeing you next time.